and welcome to Spotlight Series, brought to you by YWCA Spokane. I'm Jasmine, and I'm so excited to launch this special series, where we'll be shining a light on the incredible organizations and individuals who are making a difference in our community. Whether you're tuning in from near or far, this series is all about connecting you to the heart of Spokane, its people, its work, and the stories that inspire us all. Each episode will dive into the impactful work happening right here in our community, learning from those who are leading change, supporting others, and creating a brighter future for everyone. We'll explore how we can all be part of the solution in building a more just and inclusive community. So get comfortable and get ready to meet some amazing people and learn about the incredible work happening right here in Spokane. Welcome back to our Spotlight series. Today we have Tia, and I will go ahead and let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Tia, and I'm the political organizer for Asians for Collective Action.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Tia.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Really happy that we get to sit down and talk. Why don't you go ahead and tell me your position, the organization that you're with, and just a little bit of that information.
Yeah, so I'm the political organizer for Asians for Collective Action. So that means I do a lot of voter engagement and voter education work. I host certain workshops, like Reimagine Spokane workshops, to really bring together our community to envision a reimagined version of Spokane where people can really not just survive, but really thrive. And so that's been one of my passion projects that I've been leading, and I hope to continue again this year.
Yeah, I know you mentioned the ACL and ACA to abbreviate. Could you dive into a little bit of what each of those are?
Yeah, so Asians for Collective Liberation in Spokane is our 501c3. So originally we were APIC Spokane. Some people might have known us in the community as APIC Spokane, but we recently rebranded to Asians for Collective Liberation to honor disaggregation between our Asian and Pacifica communities. And then we started our own 501c4 organization, which is called Asians for Collective Action, just last year. So we just started this organization, and it's really to be able to endorse candidates more and to take more of a political stance on certain things, and to also have voting records and different things to try and make it a lot more transparent and easily accessible to our community about what different candidates fight for. And we're really trying to encourage people to vote with their values. And sometimes it can be hard with so many policies and changes all the time and not always knowing where to find that accessible information about what people are voting for. So it's really important to increase that transparency and accessibility, which is why we're trying to do that through voter records and through just different organizational town halls and events with our local legislators, so people can be informed about who is representing them and make their voices more heard.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Thanks.
Is there flyers that you distribute? Is this information available online that people can take a look at to know when you're having events and where they can attend them?
Yeah, so right now I would recommend going to aclspokane.org, or you can go to our Instagram, which is ACA Spokane or ACL Spokane. You can find much of the same information on both, I would say.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's a lot of great, unique work that you don't see a lot of that here in Spokane, unfortunately. But what's been something recent, the recent activity that's been impactful for you, that you've found helpful? I know it's not always positive, so also the downsides to that.
Yeah, I would say probably one of my most impactful projects this year was working with the Health Equity Circle students at WSU Spokane, just helping them prepare for their lobby day through a lobby day training. I led a lobby day training last year and led lobby day for our Asian community to go from here in Spokane to Olympia to lobby and advocate for the needs and resources of our Asian and Asian American communities. And so because the students were aware of the fact that we have lobbied before, and I reconnected with them through a vaccine clinic that we helped do at a Buddhist temple. So it was really special that these students reached out and asked for help to help make sure that their WSU Spokane Health Equity Circle students could feel like comfortable and empowered to be prepared to lobby. And so, yeah, it was just a really fun experience. Like, I love working with students. I love, like, seeing the youth be excited about getting civically engaged and involved in their communities. So I felt like it was a really special moment to be able to collaborate this time, since we just did it as our own organization last year. For this year to be like that, it was really special.
What about misconceptions that maybe people have that aren't part of your organization or aren't familiar with who you are and the work that you do? Is there anything that you've heard that's, you'd like to correct and clear up?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to talk about the model minority myth. I think that a common misconception is that Asians are apolitical and that we're not civically engaged, haven't been part of social movements in the U.S., and that's completely not true. I think that, unfortunately, there's a lot of erasure of our Asian American contributions and our significant strides that we've made in social movements like the civil rights movement, the labor rights movement, and I think that what is important is that we implement more Asian American history in K through 12 public schools, in colleges, so that people are aware of our different contributions, the discrimination and racism we've faced historically and to this present day. And I think that it would be impactful because the model minority myth pretty much says that all Asians are apolitical, law-abiding, obedient, very rich, well-educated people, and it's funny because some people might say, oh, it's a good stereotype, like, oh, the fact that you're stereotyped as rich, successful, and, naturally smart, that should be a positive thing. Like, you should just be grateful that you have a good stereotype about you. But in reality, we know, like, any stereotype is still a bad stereotype. It's still lumping all people together and not recognizing our diversity and our diverse needs. And so, for example, in our Asian community, even though you might see that Asians as a whole group lumped together have some of the highest income compared to other racial groups, that's just the average. But if you see actually among Asians, it's the largest income disparities that you see among any other racial groups. So there's just this vastness within our Asian communities because, there are so many different Asian ethnicities under that umbrella term, Asian American. And so I think that part of our work with Asians for Collective Action is to bring awareness, bring education and awareness of our different cultural differences, but also to mobilize people around this term, around our unique community of being Asian American. Like, for example, in the 1960s, the term Asian American, it was coined actually as a form of solidarity to bring people together because, there has historically been so much discrimination and racism against our communities. So this term Asian American was really to bring people together and to help them to fight for a collective, a joint effort together.
Yeah, thank you so much for diving into that.
Of course.
I really do agree that, being able to provide a more realistic set of history is absolutely what is needed, especially with, how the world is changing and things are becoming a lot more available. I was having a conversation with my colleagues, and we talked about how everybody gets the opportunity to really share their own personal experience now because of social media, because there isn't just one person controlling the narrative of what happened, right? We have people that are able to speak up for themselves and actually show what is going on and have that evidence. And so I do think it is really important to also bring up, what has happened in the past and to remind ourselves that is just one narrative that we are given and that we are told. And it's important to do our own investigation and really do our own education for ourselves. And we don't always have to know 100% of what happened, but it is just nice to be exposed to that topic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I wanted to share that's actually why we went to Lobby Day this year in Olympia. We just came back from it, and it was really impactful to be there advocating for Asian American and Pacific Islander history, actually. So we're advocating for Senate Bill 5574, and that would include Asian American and Pacific Islander history in all K through 12 public schools. So it's integrating it into the already existing history classes. So hopefully that can really help to dispel stereotypes against Asians and the Pacifica community, and really help to build more empathy and understanding and combat racism through this education, because as we know, like, education's the best way to combat racism and discrimination. And so now, especially with this political climate, more than ever, we need to stand up and support our marginalized communities, and that's through a lot more empathy and understanding. So I'm hoping that we can pass that piece of legislation this legislative session.
Yeah. Are you much of a reader?
Yes,
yeah?
I love reading. I'm such a nerd.
I'm diving back into reading, and I don't know, most people that I've come across love fiction, but I don't know, I really love nonfiction. I've always loved nonfiction just because I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much to know about the world and different perspectives, and just because I really like, National Geographic, and like, these real life things. And it's just getting to see the before, the during, and the aftermath of it. So that's the way my brain works. I like to be able to kind of have a tangible effect to it.
Exactly. Yeah. What's your favorite book right now?
Oh my gosh. I am getting close to finishing The Alchemist.
Oh, I heard such good things about that.
I highly recommend. Okay. It is, I don't know, based off the title itself. Don't judge a book by its title, by its cover. But I thought, I don't know, I expected something completely different, and I decided, you know what, I want to get through a lot of the books of the banned books list this year. That's my goal.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
A little sort of mini form of resistance.
Exactly. And I've loved The Alchemist. It just really makes you reflect. I'm somebody big on reflecting and, always questioning the why rather than just taking what is, told to you or given to you. It's easy to just kind of go along with it, but if you stop and you think about it, then it leads to other questions, and it really deepens your way of thinking.
Yeah, definitely. No, I totally feel you on that. I love reflecting. I think journaling, meditation, yoga, it's also important for, like, being able to just pause and slow down and really reflect. And I feel like being in the activism world, being an organizer, it can be sort of challenging sometimes to slow down. And I think because in our fast-paced capitalistic society, we're always pressured to, like, do more and to be everything to everyone in the nonprofit sector. You just want to, like, do so much. And because, like, I'm sure you're familiar with this feeling too, like, you care so much about your community, your people, and you want to serve so many people that you can get compassion fatigue too, get burnt out. So I think that I love that our organization really tries to combat that by trying to do, like, a 30-hour work week and really focusing on a lot of self-care and prioritizing wellness in, like, our programs, and also just, like, implementing that, encouraging us to implement that in our lifestyle as well. And then also, quick plug, if that's okay. So talking about books and authors, we're actually going to be bringing Viet Thanh Nguyen to Spokane. He is a Pulitzer Prize winner, and he wrote The Sympathizer, which is now an HBO special, or it's an HBO series now. So he's incredible. He's a professor at USC and an author. So we're going to bring him here, and that's during Asian American Heritage Month. So during Asian American Heritage Month in May, we have a huge lineup of amazing, exciting events that are all free for our community. So definitely just want to encourage everyone to come to our events, to check us out on our website and Instagram and Facebook. And we also have our opening reception on, on Saturday, May 3rd, and that's at the Northwest Museum of Arts and Culture, the MAC. And that day, the MAC will be open to everyone for free who comes to that event. So we'll be having people who, share about their experiences of Spokane's Chinatown also known as the International District or Trent Alley, will have people who share about their experiences there because, unfortunately the remnants of it were torn down to make way for Expo 74. And there was a lot of racist language that people don't know about that was used to justify the erasure of our Asian community, of our international district. There was this effort to beautify Spokane, but that meant taking away our international district, which is actually right down here in downtown Spokane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. So
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
really sad. It's really covered up, literally.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Like, really just literally torn down and covered up to make way for Expo 74. So it's a passion project of mine, and like a goal of mine someday is to create an Asian American cultural center here in Spokane, and to have like a museum in there, to have a space for performances, for cultural New Year celebrations, like an education and wellness center in there, a mini market. And then I would love to bring back our international district and to have it be a thriving community again, where we see a lot more like Asian restaurants and other, of course, ethnic restaurants here in downtown Spokane, and have like lots of different art and architecture that reflects our diverse international community that has grown so much here in Spokane, and that makes me really happy. So I would love to see an effort of combining like historical Chinatown or Trent Alley here with like the fusion of like this new wave of refugees and immigrants who have come here often from Vietnam, Ukraine, Russia, Venezuela. I'd love to see like this more open embrace and welcoming of the immigrants and refugees who are making the best food here in Spokane and making our community much more brighter.
Absolutely. And as you were saying all of that, I'm just thinking about all of these communities, right, that have their own special and beautiful culture. And, we go and we attend and we get to know their food. We get to know maybe like if they have special wear that they have, their traditions. And it just makes me think of, that's how you build community. You get to know somebody else's culture, their background, what is meaningful to them. And again, it doesn't mean that you have to know every single little aspect of it, but you're just exposed to it, and boom, there's a new little thing that you didn't know before. And I think that connects us with one another a lot more deeply, and that's what creates community.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what's your favorite part about your culture?
I think just the appreciation of everything. So whether that's the food or family or traditions, because they're related to family. I always think of Dia de los Muertos, which is every November. And I've just always found it so pretty. The movie Coco is a really great representation of it, and it always makes you cry because it's just so pretty and so well made. But yeah, I think it's that, and I've come to realize that a little bit more as I've gotten older, is the appreciation of things that I didn't think about before, right? It's like any other aspect of our life. We just, it's there. It isn't, I'm overlooking it, right? So to take the time to pause and think, well, actually, I'm actually really lucky that I have a family that, supports me and is there for me. And I know not everybody has that. I'm lucky that my parents prioritized higher education, and I know not everybody has that opportunity. So being able to reflect on these amazing opportunities because of the support that I have from my family, it's just something that I really am appreciative for.
Yeah.
What about
really
you?
Nice. Well, that's so nice. Thank you for sharing all that. Coco is such a great movie. And what I find is, like, actually, our Asian and Latinx communities have so many similarities, you know what I mean? Like, well, one with the good spicy foods and, like, the rice as a staple in both, communities. But, like, also, I feel like our big emphasis on family and, like, taking care of your community, even if they're not in your direct lineage, like, you can still raise people like your own family. So I do love that. I would say there's a lot of things to love about my home culture. I would say similar to you. It's that the feeling of family and community being such a big priority. And I think I really love I love that whenever you're struggling, I think that I'm lucky with a big family too. I have such a big family. I was born and raised here in Spokane, and so I grew up with a lot of relatives like cousins, aunts, uncles, and majority of my family still lives here. And so I think that I'm very grateful that anytime that I was struggling with anything mentally, in a rut, having some type of blockage, I always had someone in my family that I could talk to and who was willing to listen and really guide me through, and I think I'm so fortunate. I grew up in a multi-generational household with my grandma, Tia, who I was named after, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, so she's awesome, so sweet. She's in her 90s now. And I think that growing up with so many elders around me, it taught me to tap into the wisdom of our elders and to really listen to their stories. Because as we know, like, our elders have so many amazing stories and so much wisdom to share. But you just have to be willing to listen. And I feel like they're always wanting to share their stories with people, but not everyone takes the time out of their day to, like, sit down with somebody, especially with our busy lives of being a busy working person or a college student, whatever that is. And so I think I've gained a lot of wisdom from my elders about respect, about what it looks like to welcome people into your home with hot tea and snacks, like shaking their hand, just being very kind when greeting people, and trying to live with humility, but also confidence at the same time. I think there were a lot of values that were instilled in me by my elders, especially by my grandma, who pretty much raised me.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Tia.
Yeah.
That's, very important to learn from, especially our elders and that interconnectedness within our family.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it, as you mentioned, we're so busy, we're on the go, that we don't take time to ask questions, right? Like, how was it growing up for you? And what did you like to do? Because they did have their own life, just like we have our own lives now. Full of adventures. So I do think that's really important as well.
Yeah, exactly. And like, my grandma was a shaman, so I love to learn about, like, her different shamanistic practices and like what she understands about the spirit realm and spirituality that I am not as familiar with, so it's really helpful to hear about her experiences, and it's very eye-opening as well, so yeah.
Along with this, is there anything that inspires you in specific with the work that you do? And also, along with this work, as we previously mentioned, it can be a lot. So what do you do for your own self-care and your own well-being?
Yeah, so I would say, honestly, my little sister Shwana inspires me a lot. She's 10 years old, and everyone says that she's like my mini-me. They're like, you guys are like little twins. Like, when we go out, it's funny, people think that I'm her mom because we look so similar.
Oh my gosh.
And it's really cute. So I just love just being inspired by her hopeful energy. She has so much positive energy. She's so intuitive, and I think that she inspires my organizing work because I think about how I want to help leave this community and this world a better place for her and for people like her, why we organize. It's a labor of love to our community. It's like writing a love letter to your future children or, your future community. It's a chance to leave behind your community better than you found it. And so I think she really inspires me just by being her. And I sort of see myself in her in a way too. Like I told you, I was born and raised here in Spokane, and I grew up being bullied here for just simply for being Asian, with people slanting their eyes at me, calling me a chink, telling me to go back to China or that you don't belong here. And I think that feeling inside of feeling othered and like you don't belong and being judged, looked at as different for so long in my life, I think that also lights a fire in me to fight for people who also may be experiencing that same thing, and to combat these structures of racism, the structural oppression that's going on, because that's ultimately the end goal, right, is to change these systems of violence, systems of racism that are harming our communities of color. and of course other systems of oppression as well. So yeah, I think I look at her and I also see the little me and try and heal my inner child as well when trying to do this organizing work. By, you said, what do you do for self-care? I think it's sort of like, to me now, it's been a more natural everyday thing instead of, you know, sometimes in our society now we sort of think of self-care as like go to the spa once a month, and like those things are self-care as well.
Again, the capitalism part to it.
Yeah.
You have to spend money to feel good, and you don't. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. I was watching this video on Instagram Reels recently, and I love like seeing all these different things sort of critiquing self-care as it relates to capitalism. And so I encourage our community to look at self-care as a way of like to transform this idea of self-care into communal care. Because yes, we need to take care of ourselves too. We're all interconnected. So it's important to take care of yourself by slowing down, by doing things that bring you joy, that feel good in your body and allow you to have rest and to rejuvenate your soul. But it's good to think about your self-care in relation to your community care. How do we take care of one another, of each other, so that we can all thrive together? And that's the whole purpose behind why I helped to, when we were rebranding, we were all like putting our names, name suggestions into this Google form, and that's why I suggested the name Asians for Collective Liberation originally for our C3 organization, because I thought, you know, we're all interconnected and we can't just be fighting for ourselves. We have to be fighting for collective liberation because, you know, that famous quote, we're not free until everyone is free. You know, all of our liberation is intertwined. So I think of the importance of uplifting others. And lately, dancing, actually Latin dancing has been like my therapy lately. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of salsa, bachata, merengue. Yeah, so I've been taking classes here in the Valley, and that's been super fun. And I'd love to see like our growing Latin community, like our Latin dance community, because it's something that I've never experienced before, never like tapped into before. So that's been really fun to challenge myself with a new style of dance. I started dancing when I was 9, so I like grew up dancing, but this is the first time I've done like partner work and heels as well. So I've been doing heels dancing, and it's just nice to get back into something that allows me to move my body, get out all the stress,
absolutely.
shake away everything,
and listen to good music.
Listen to good music, especially listening to like live music. I was just at Son Dulce's event this weekend at Overbluff Cellars, so love hearing their live music, and I hope to just keep seeing a growing dance scene here in Spokane with more salsa music, more dancers, more people just like coming together and embracing each other for, you know, who we are, and more people meeting each other where we're at. That's what I see as community care and self-care combined.
Absolutely, yeah. I really like that you said you do your self-care every day, and I think that is something that we should all really engage in, and it doesn't have to be this big, huge thing, right? For me, I just discovered, you know, there's like bath bombs. But they're like shower pods. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, sort of like put it down.
Yeah.
It looks like a crescent moon, right?
Yeah.
Like a half moon.
Yeah, there's a whole like different type of versions of it. And these are like tablets. That's the word I was looking for. Tablets. And you just kind of throw them in the shower, and they just like steam up like this aroma. And like that's like a form of self-care. And it's definitely very, very simple. It's watching my favorite series. I've been very into K-dramas right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Which one are you watching? I need some recommendations.
I just finished watching Business Proposal.
Oh, okay.
Really good.
Oh,
loved it. Yeah. I don't know. I love how fun they are, and there's, you know, just I think along with the different aspects that you can think about our own society as well. And I think, you know, there's a lot of things that can fit across different other countries and nations, but also it's nice to see what we are different in. And is it a good different? Is it a not so good different? Why is that? So that's also why I really like enjoying watching international series. That's a lot of learning.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a special thing about watching K-dramas and watching things like telenovelas too.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's so fun to and this is why I love learning other languages too. And I'm a big traveler. I traveled to 11 countries so far and solo traveled 6 of them. And I just really love learning about people's different cultures, especially because, like you said, you're able to compare and contrast your cultures with others, and you often see that we're a lot more similar than we are different. But the differences are what makes it beautiful as well. Our uniqueness is something special that we should hold on to. And I think what colonialism and imperialism says is that we should all be the same. But life is a lot more bland, and our flavors would be a lot more bland with us all just being the same, Yeah. So I think of duality a lot lately, or multiplicity, I guess. But especially with duality, I'm thinking of how people say, you should just embrace similarities, think of how we're all the same, stop, you're being divisive if you recognize race, gender, class, and those isms. There's a misconception that is being racist if you're calling out racism. I do hear that sometimes, and that's a little bit frustrating. And then there's the other end where it's like, okay, we should just talk about only our differences and not really this unity of bringing it together. So I like this idea of balancing what brings us together as our similarities and what sets us apart in our uniqueness. Embracing both of those things, I think that we can always hold space for multiple truths to be existing at the same time. So, yeah, I just have been thinking about that word, duality, a lot.
Yeah, well, that's great. As you were sharing that, it made me think about a book that was recommended to me by Rick Matters, who I'm sure you're familiar with, works with NAACP. And yeah, the book that he mentioned and shared with me is Belonging Without Othering. And it talks about exactly that, how, it's either one or the other. Like, are we going to talk about our similarities or differences? But we can connect those, and we can talk about it all as a whole, because we shouldn't have to leave certain parts of ourselves out just to have this connection or relationship. It can still exist, but we focus on this thing that we have in common, right? And still appreciate our differences with one another.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. I'll have to check that book out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That sounds good. You can borrow my copy.
Actually. Oh, okay. Yes. Once we're done with it, thank you. Yeah. Yes, we'll do a little book exchange.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I have a lot of books. I'm happy to share with you.
If you ever want some in Spanish, let me know.
Oh, okay. Yes, I need to practice that. I need to practice my Spanish speaking skills.
Going back to your younger self, I know you mentioned your little sister, how you see a lot of yourself in her. What is advice that you would give to your younger self?
That's such a good question. I feel like lately I've been doing a lot of meditations where I close my eyes and I can envision my younger self sitting to the left of me, usually about the age of 5. And then I envision my older self, age 80, 80s, 90s. And I'm sort of talking to them in this meditation, just silently, having a conversation of what would you like me to know and what can I help share with you. And so with my younger self lately in my meditations, I think that I tell her to give herself more grace and to trust in the process, trust in the fact that everything will work out as it's meant to. I think that sometimes in life you feel like, oh, maybe this is such a big regret, or, you live in your past because you're, you suffer because you live in your past. That's a cause of much depression, And so I think that when you acknowledge that, every single baby step that led to where you are now was significant. Everything had to happen exactly as it was in order for you and I to be sitting here together today, Yeah. And that's a special thing, all your struggles, all your suffering, it all was necessary in order for you to grow, to learn the lessons that you learned in order to get where you are. And so I think that I would tell her to give herself more grace and to trust in the process. And usually my older self will tell me to take care of my body in my meditations. My older self is always like, okay, make sure you're strengthening your back, your core, your legs, your hips. Stay physically active and fit so that me in the future doesn't have to suffer so much because of lack of doing that as a young person. So it's sort of an interesting conversation I've been having through meditations with my own spirit, I guess.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and that's
Yeah.
beautiful. I definitely agree with
Thanks.
thinking about my older self. I'm like, oh, let me stand up, let me sit up straight.
Yeah.
Let me have better posture.
Yeah. What would you tell your younger self?
Ooh, as you were talking, I feel like we're very similar in that. Everything had to happen as it was supposed to. And that's definitely something that I've, kept in mind. And whenever I'm come to a decision now, I'm like, I'm going to go with this decision and I'm going to trust it. And if it doesn't work out, then maybe that other decision will be the option for it. And it's just kind of, being okay with the uncertainty of what is going to be. I used to be somebody that wanted to plan like really accordingly, like I have to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I would get to one of those points and then something wouldn't work out. Well, now my whole plan is ruined, right? And yeah, so that would be a big downfall. I feel like now I have to restart. So just, not thinking too far ahead, and being okay with what is going to be, and just accepting it and just being optimistic. I'm somebody that loves to be optimistic. So I think that's been super helpful in my own, journey and as I approach things, throughout life. But yeah, for my younger self, I would say, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It'll not a big deal kind of thing.
Yeah, I love that. That's really beautifully said.
Thank you. What about Spokane? Is there any little hidden gem that you want to share with everybody?
That's such a good question. Oh my gosh. Well, I feel like lately I've been really loving Feast World Kitchen. I just love the fact that they really empower our refugee and immigrant communities to share their beautiful cultures and cuisines with our community. And so, because it's restaurant week, I just went there recently. I love my friend Suwani's khao soi. So it's like a northern Chiang Mai style curry. It's like a curry noodle soup that's super good with chicken that just like falls off the bone. So that's amazing. So yeah, Chef Suwani is like my girl. Love her soups. And another, I love how it's not so much a hidden gem as much anymore. It's just a gem, I love how, what I mean? Like I'm so grateful to see it grow in the past few years, and like I just want to keep seeing people continue to support it because they do so much amazing work for our community. But I feel like, I love to see that they're doing so many events of like just helping support our community at a lot of different events throughout Spokane. Yeah, a Cooney's Thai. Okay, also I love Cooney's Thai and I love Sala Thai. So Cooney's Thai is up north in northern Spokane by Mead High School. They're amazing. Love their food. And then Sala Thai has the best Penang curry with zucchini. They add zucchini in there.
I love zucchini.
Yeah, me too. I love zucchini. I've never had a Penang curry with zucchini before until I went there, and it's so bomb. And their pineapple curry, or pineapple fried rice, they serve in half a pineapple too.
Ooh.
So it's just like in Thailand. Like that brings me back to my memories when I was studying abroad in Thailand. So I love Sala Thai's food so much.
I am definitely going to check out those places.
Yeah, you definitely should. They're in Airway Heights, a little bit further from the usual route that people go, I feel like, unless you live that way in like Airway Heights or Cheney. But it's so worth it. So.
Yeah. Gemma was just at, was it Feast World Kitchen?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she raved about it, so that's also on my list. I love discovering new restaurants around the area. So I will definitely check those out.
Yeah, you should go this week because it's restaurant week, so you'll get a little bite of a lot of different cultures if you want.
Yeah, ooh, I will.
Highly recommend it.
That's my dinner plan for tonight, then.
Okay, good.
Along with sharing with others, is there a book that you think would be beneficial or helpful for people that would love to know a little bit more about your work, something that you found helpful just to kind of, people always ask, where should I start, if they want to take action towards being supporting and being an ally throughout all of this?
That's such a good question. I really love Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zahner and The Making of Asian America by Erica Lee. I feel like those are really great places to start, where it talks about the history of Asian Americans, and it also connects, specifically Crying in H Mart connects to the experience of somebody, talking about mental struggles with losing her mother as well. So family ties and mental health as well. So I think it's important to talk about, especially because mental health is still so stigmatized in our Asian community, as it is in many communities of color, I feel like. And I think it's important to recognize different mental health struggles and needs. And I think I really love how it addresses it and highlights that. And I think that I hope to see in the next couple of years that our Asian community can embrace talking about mental health even more and normalize it.
Absolutely. That book is also on my reading list.
Oh, yeah, it's
yeah,
so good.
I've heard such great things about it.
And she's an artist, too, Japanese
Oh.
Breakfast. So Michelle
really?
Zauner's part of Japanese Breakfast, so you can listen to her music, too.
Oh, wow. Yeah, definitely. I'm always looking for, those books that talk about the different experiences in different cultures, just because, it's just such an eye-opener, and it really is another line for you to empathize with them, and the road to empathizing. Which I do not need help empathizing. I am already an over-empathizer as it is. But
that's a good problem to have
in
some ways. Maybe. At times.
Sometimes I see a dog on the side of the road and I get a little sad, but it's okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Being in this line of work and the experiences that you've gone through, is there a mantra or kind of your go-to advice that you have for yourself when things get tough?
That is such a good question. I think mine is super simple lately, just have gratitude. It's super simple, nothing special, but finding something to be grateful for every day, that will really help keep you going, especially on the hard days. I know it's helped me a lot with like my mental health struggles, with physical health struggles. I think that having gratitude for the life that I have, for a roof over my head, always great food, especially a home-cooked meal from my mom, since I do live with my parents still. I think that there's so much to be grateful for. When this world is so chaotic and it feels so heavy and burdensome, I think that finding those little moments of joy and those little pockets of gratitude, that gives you hope to just keep moving forward. And being like, okay, I can keep going because there is still beauty in life. There's still beauty in each day. And I think that's sort of connecting to that self-care question that you asked me. It's like I try and find a little moment each day to like pause and meditate, and I think that that's sort of my self-care, like moving through the day with intentionality. And I think we can't always be intentional all the time, but I think that incorporating that intentionality into everyday little things, I think that's been also helping me as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So be intentional as well.
Yeah.
Like, have humility, be grateful, or have gratitude, and be intentional.
What is next for you and for your work? And are there any upcoming events that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so like I highlighted, there is our upcoming Asian American Heritage Month in May, so I feel like everyone should definitely check out our website, keep updated on all of our exciting events coming up in May that are related to like culture, great food, there's film screening, there's going to be great things coming up, so really excited for that. And I don't know, I think that's the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to in these next couple of months. I think that eventually what I'm really excited for is for us to start some type of youth empowerment program. We really want to help build up our Asian youth leaders. So we're not quite we're not quite ready to launch that yet, but we're in the works of developing a youth empowerment program to help build up stronger Asian leaders so that we can create the systemic change together and build this community that is more thriving, that we all deserve to live in together. We all deserve to thrive. So I'm really excited to work with the youth to build this community up even more.
Well, thank you so much for coming on,
Tia.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was great to talk to you. Make sure that you check out Tia's information down below, as well as our other spotlights. We'll see you next time.
Okay. Thank you.